At the present time, Sonic Mania is buggier than the original games.
Also, just as a quick aside before we go any further, yeah, Special Stage 7, pathetically easy.
I can't beat Special Stage 6. I just cannot beat it.
Well, the
Supersonic has his actual theme now.
God damn, I fucking love this track.
It's long, which is the good thing.
Yeah,
it's longer than 3 seconds.
It's long. It's also got some kick-ass guitar going on. But, you know, it's just like the Supersonic theme, more than anything else, really makes me appreciate this soundtrack over the goddamn Sonic 4 soundtrack. Because, like, it's so much easier to listen to a loop of guitar than it is to listen to a loop of dying cats.
What about Quacking Ducks?
Hey, I like the Sonic 4 Supersonic theme. You shut up, you. I was okay. So my problem with this boss is, for some reason, and I don't know why they put this in, the game will actively push you back as you try and jump over these missiles. I'm not sure why that this design was implemented in, but it's fucked me over so many times.
The stage is scrolling faster than I think Sonic's moving.
Well, then that needs. Yeah. I think that should be fixed then, because it's not a game breaking bug, but I would get hit 9 out of 10 times trying to jump over these missiles.
It's a lot more difficult to be precise during this boss battle than it was during, say, the Mushroom Hill boss.
Well, that was the straight line, though.
You didn't have the slopes, but even when you're jumping off of a straight horizontal patch of ground, you're still dealing with that pushback.
Which again,
that's honestly that's the thing. Yeah, that's what caused me the most strife is unfortunately going over a slope as soon as I'm ready to hit the blue missile, because that will get my jump.
And you know, guys, I'll just say in the Metal Sonic fight in episode 4, it doesn't push you back and try and jump over stuff. I'm just saying, Sonic 4 best game ever made.
You're Sonic 4 apologist.
I would recommend, to make life a little easier on yourself, to drop dash.
Go super.
No.
Go super. Get all 7 Chaos Emeralds.
Drop dash into the blue missiles.
This is where I first learned the potential utility of the drop dash, because it made it easier to hit the blue missiles.
Yeah, the drop dash has a lot of utility. It's just not obvious utility. Like, yeah, it's good for speed runs, but it's also good for just quick changes of direction, for very quick offensive capabilities, and it's very useful in the chase bosses.
Same person. Good to know. I mean, to be fair, have you ever seen Batman and Spider-Man in the same place at the same time?
Yeah, during the Marvel and DC crossover, but yes.
Guys, Johnny Lewis, this is the thing that will finally connect Ryan and Ted, a character from both their respective comic companies, in the same game.
Yeah,
we can have peace at brainscratch now. The Civil War's over.
But you know, in the Runaways, Spider-Man did admit to being Batman. It might not have been a joke.
Yeah, and and it's I think Daredevil, where somebody said, "Hey, look, it's Red Batman."
Yeah. And in return, when I forget who Barry was talking to, but someone was going over with Barry about better names for speedsters, because they can't keep calling each one of them Flash. One of them brings up the idea of Quicksilver, and Barry says that's definitely taken.
I will say, Lewis, part of me is kind of not annoyed, but like it's a shame you had to.
The thing is that you see all the work that they put into these rehashed zones, and you know that they redraw every single sprite. So, like, it would have taken about as much work. Maybe not about as much work, but even if it would take more work to make all new zones, I would have rather had a game with 8 new zones than 4 new zones and 8 rehashed zones.
I mean, Ted, I get that. My point of contention is when you called it pandering. I'm like, these are characters that, for one, aside from Knack being in an 8-bit game, these characters have never been in a platform.
A proper Sonic game, yeah.
Exactly, because I mean, like being Embarker in aside from
Sonic
the Fighters, which is not many people played. So I would not call this pandering really. I think I would say something like, say, the Death Egg robot. You could say that's pandering because that's been used so often. These guys haven't, so I don't.
The whole game. Well, to be fair, I think the whole game is kind of pandering. But it is. It felt like, oh, we're going to bring back these obscure characters that nobody really knows because it'll make people freak out. And that I saw exactly why they chose these things. You know, and it rubbed me the wrong way when I saw them, because like, oh, of course they're going to bring back.
I can understand, Ted, but
it's like anything that came out after 1996 really hasn't been Well, unless if you're Unleashed, because they want to bring back that gameplay style, but it feels like a lot of...
the most love that the adventure era has gotten has
been
Sonic Generations, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, even if Sonic Mania had, like, say, Sonic Advance callbacks somehow, like, I don't know, like, I think I would feel a little bit less left out. And I get that that's just a personal thing, and also, what's really weird is that they have 5 heavies, but only 4 original zones for them. So they just throw one in
Sonic Advance doesn't have too much to call back to when I think about it.
They could do Metal Knuckles, they could do music remix.
Also, bye, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, I want to say, dude, 2 things about this boss. I mean, obviously, that's a callback too. Is it Polygon Jim? I believe was he the. But also, one thing I know Lewis destroyed it as Metal Sonic. This might be my least favorite boss in the game.
He have like his own unique boss fights or twists.
Wait, Knuckles can fly? He can glide up? What madness is this?
We've seen the Sonic OVA.
Yeah.
No, there he just floats. There's a difference.
Not only did Knuckles have his own like souped up boss fights all over the place, he also the fact that he didn't have a proper Sky Sanctuary zone fit in with continuity because the proper level, the rest of Sky Sanctuary kind of fell apart during Sonic's game. So the fact that it's not there...
Did they just forget about level down here?
Nope, I forgot to jump.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because you could have actually just avoided the goddamn death trap because you were already Super Knuckles anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, this is the place
the death trap.
Before they inserted the Super Knuckles button, you would be forced to transform if you happened to cross the 50 ring threshold before you hit that wall. But yeah. It's also interesting to see the old school Hidden Palace come back after it's been established in the adventure games that the Master Emerald is magically this outdoor random stone pedestal thing for something.
There are different continuities now, Ryan, Lewis.
We also have an explanation for why the Super Emeralds are thinking.
What, they're broken?
Yeah.
It depresses me.
What, they're just broken?
That they're broken. You know what, though? I notice how the Master Emerald is significantly bigger than it was in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so my headcanon is that the Master Emerald drained the Super Emerald to increase in size.
Okay, so you only fight this guy when you do a Knuckles playthrough, then?
Yeah.
Huh, okay, you know...
Yeah, it is a little weird.
Yeah, because he's like their leader and stuff, so I honestly did feel like it was a missing fight, you know?
Yeah, they kind of just threw in Heavy Rider in the Sonic fight, in the Sonic boss, and then
blow up tentacles.
I don't like tanking hits. It's not fun.
Well, you're wrong. But anyway, so,
get good, Lewis. Get good.
It's Sonic.exe.
Tank hits and blow up tentacles each and every single time. You actually skip the hardball heavy phases.
Can I just say, I love this final boss to pieces.
It's pretty cool.
Love the music, and it's an interesting take on the Supersonic final boss's fights.
Although, this boss design looks like something out of Knights rather than Sonic.
Is the timer supposed to be freaking out?
Yeah.
Okay. We're in a space
Who
time
was it,
warp.
right? Was it you who thought that was a glitch? And Johnny was like, no, it's part of the game, you fool. What are you talking about?
The designers obviously realized while they were making this that there's no point in having a 10-minute timer on a Supersonic boss because win or lose, you're not taking 10 minutes. So they decided to use the timer as a narrative element to let you know that you're outside the normal flow of time and everything.
So can you fly in this? Or
Yeah.
Fly?
Yeah.
You do a double jump after walking on the ground, and you'll go into flight mode.
I will say 2 things about this. If you press the jump button, you do kind of like a speed burst, which takes 10 rings, which I would advise to do. For me, I actually find the best defense is just to stay on the ground. Just stay on the ground and wait for them to pop up and then just jump into them. Like the first time I tried this, I died flying. The second time I stayed on the ground and I beat it no problem.
Also, question is Eggman's mech supposed to be like a kind of barely fixed up together big arms?
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's the vibe I get from it.
It looks like I see bandages on the arms.
Duct tape.
Yeah,
duct tape.
Space tape. Very expensive.
Oh, they did that on purpose.
King.
They did that on purpose because this is the only other boss that can damage Supersonic. That's clever.
Oh yeah, you're right. Holy shit!
You're fucking nerds.
The reference is lost on me.
No. Like everyone who's ever, anyone who's ever completed Sonic 3 alone knows that the Big Arm is the only one that can damage Supersonic, because they'll have inevitably tried to cheese the final boss as Supersonic, but then gotten grabbed as Supersonic and been pile drived into the ground.
Of course, yes.
Well, you see, I don't know that because I play good games, and as we all know, Sonic was never good. So...
Gee, you played SA2. Shut the fuck up, Ted. I will say, though, even though in terms of the story campaign, you can't play this as Tails and Knuckles, if you use the debug mode, which our friend Derek at Gaming Explain showed off, you can actually fight this boss as Super Tails and Super Knuckles.
Super Knuckles even has his own extra ending.
No. I thought that only happens if you play Knuckles and Knuckles mode.
No, if you can just level select.
If you play Knuckles and get all the Chaos Emeralds, then when you get to the end of the game, it does actually send you to the Supersonic boss.
Oh, cool! I know that.
Yeah.
So if you get a game over here, do you have to go through all of Titanic?
You have to go through Titanic Monarch again.
Oh God!
You cannot select Egg Reverie from the save file, which is annoying.
Yes.
But... Well,
which it's odd because they treat Doomsday as its own zone. I don't get why this couldn't be.
Yeah, no, that is a little odd.
Well, I think the reason they did that in Sonic 3 and Knuckles was more because Death Egg Zone had a multi-phase boss all to itself.
Yeah, that's a multi-phase boss. You go multiple phases. There's normal phase and heavy phase. That's multi.
Well, Death Egg Zone had like the
Oh, it had like the nose thing, not the nose.
Yeah,
thing,
it had the big robot where you had to destroy its fingers, and then it chased
malicious
you.
fingers.
But then, even before that, it also had the anti-gravity boss right before the giant robot.
Wow, I didn't even know Eggman had another attack.
Yeah, if you're too slow to attack him, he'll start doing this.
Now, you see, here's the thing: the Eggman part of the boss is the easiest part to hit. However, the rings only spawn when Eggman is active. So, if you're low on rings, you're going to want to let him hang around for a little while.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, there's nothing that really tells you. It's not obvious that they would only spawn while he's on screen.
Well, it starts.
Because they're spawning.
Those are just rings I haven't picked up yet, and they're floating around. If you spend too much time dodging around the energy balls that Heavy King has, you'll start to notice that the rings start to become really thin on the ground. Oof. I think the rings that get knocked out of you start floating around too.
Well, to go back to the thing about having to go back to old zones, and also a previous comment about like certain design choices like timeouts, which seem outdated. Again, I think the fact that you can't select specific acts to play through again is kind of a outdated mechanic.
Without doing level select, you mean?
Yeah. Well, you can do
really
time attack, I guess.
Although the save feature. The save feature is still better than it was in the previous game. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I thought I was on the ground. I was trying to double jump. But the save feature in this game doesn't just save your lives and continues like Sonic 3 and Knuckles did. It also saves your score.
Yeah, everybody cares about their score.
Well, the score is also what gets you extra lives. 50,000 points, I think, is the threshold.
Maybe. But again, it would have been nice if I could just go back and play, say, Stardust Speedway Act 2, the whole thing, when I wanted to, rather than having to wait, play through Act 1. Or if there was like a boss mode where I could just play through the bosses, either in a rush or at my own choice. Because again, some of the bosses, not all of them, but some of the bosses I think I would rank pretty highly in kind of classic 2D Sonic games.
Screw you, Eggman, I'm going to Sonic Forces!
Yeah, and like having a Sonic Adventure-style boss rush mode would actually be a fun extra in this game, I think.
Which, again, they tried that with Sonic 2, but Sega kind of said no at the last second. So, question, so I was talking to a friend yesterday about this. Is Titanic Monarch on Little Planet?
Presumably so. I mean, you go from Metallic Madness straight into Titanic Monarch, so...
My thing is that...
We blew up Sonic's dead! No!
Sonic's dead!
Nah, they didn't blow it up.
Nope.
They sent it back to its other dimension. That's the thing about Little Planet.
Hi, Modern Sonic. I'm Classic Sonic here
Here's
again.
my thing, though. Little Planet is